In this video, we will see how to create screen in CICS using BMS. BMS stands for Basic Mapping Support. It's a crucial element for defining the layout of screens used by a CICS program. It allows to create a special object called Mapset. A mapset is a specialized element that defines the structure of each screen. It contains objects called maps. Each map represents a screen. When coding a mapset, you will use three macros elements. The first is DFHMSD, which is the macro to start and end the mapset. The second is DFHMDI, which is the macro to begin each individual map in a mapset. And the third is DFHMDF, which is the macro to define each field within a map. To code a macro element, we use the following structure. In column 1, we give a name up to 7 letters. Then we specify the type of macro that we are using. After the type, we specify some parameters. And in column 72, we use the letter X, which is a continuation character that allows to write this instruction over multiple lines. The structure of a mapset file will look like this. First, we write the MSD field, which defines and begins the mapset. Then we write the MDI field, which starts the map. Next, we write the MDF fields, which detail the different fields of the map, such as the title and the inputs. Finally, we write the MSD field to mark the end of the mapset. Before rendering the mapset, we need to compile it. The compilation will produce 2 elements, a physical map and a symbolic map. The physical map is the actual layout of the map as it will appear on the screen. It contains the screen coordinates, attributes, and field definitions. It is a binary, meaning it is stored in a load module that CICS uses at runtime. The symbolic map is a Cobol copybook that defines the data structure for the map, including the fields and their attributes. It is used by the application program to reference map fields. It allows the Cobol application program to interact with the maps fields using symbolic names. So now let's code an example. We are going to code the following screen. It's a simple screen that contains a title, an instruction message, a field for entering the first name and one for the last name, and at the bottom of the screen we find a command line. I usually draft the screen directly on a CICS terminal. This way, I have a preview of the rendering, and I can note the position of each element which is written at the bottom right of the screen. For example, the title is on line 1, column 31. A small remark. For each field, the first byte is reserved by CICS to store the field's attributes, such as its color. So, if we specify in the mapset that the position is line 1, column 30, the field will actually be placed at line 1, column 31. To create this screen, I will create a new mapset file in my development library that I will call BMS Set1. First, we will code the MSD macro, which defines the mapset. In column 1, you have the name of the mapset, which need to be between 1 and 7 characters. Then we specify the type of macro, which is DFHMSD, and then we specify the key parameters. Type is the format of the map. It could be a physical map or a symbolic map, but we usually use both, and for that we need to specify CICS. Mode and out means that the mapset is used for receiving input and displaying output. CTRL to FreeKB means that the user can use the keyboard when the map is rendered to the screen. Lang specifies the programming language for what the map is used. TIOPFX is always set to yes for Cobol program. It generates a 12 bytes filler at the beginning of the symbolic map that the system uses to maintain control information. DSATTS and map. ATTS specifies which extended attributes should be supported by the map. We only need color for this map. Then we code the MDY macro that defines a map in the mapset. We name it BMS Map1. And we specify that the screen size is 24 lines by 80 characters, starting at column 1, line 1. Then, we define the fields of this map with the MDF macro. The MDF macro typically contains 5 parameters. POS, which represents the position of the field on the screen, the length of the field, a TTRB, which is the attributes of the field, then the color, and finally the initial value of the field. We first have the title for the map, which is positioned line 1, column 30. It has a length of 15 characters, and we want this field to be protected so the user cannot alter it. To do that, we add the property prot in the ATTRB parameter. We want this field to be green, and we want the title to be BMS Map Example. The next field is the instruction message. It is placed at line 5 and column 1. It has a length of 63 characters, and we want this field to be protected too. We want this field to be neutral, so it will be written in white. And we want the field to be initialized with type employee last name and first name. We end the map set with another MSD macro with the type final and the keyword end, meaning that we reach the end of the map set. Let's now see how our map is rendered with these two fields. First, we need to compile our map set, so I go to my JCL library and I edit the member map comp, and I specify the map set to compile before submitting the job. Now we will connect to CICS and we will declare the new mapset object. We then need to set the definition with the command CETA def mapset BMS set1, and I put this mapset in my user group user01. Then we install it with the command CETA install. And finally, we send the map to the screen with the command CECI send map BMS map1 mapset BMS set1. And as a result, we see our screen, and it's looking as expected. We will add then the last name field. The last name is composed of 3 fields. The first is the static part containing the label last name. The second is the field for user input. We assign the name lname to this field in column 1, which will create a variable lname that can be used by the CICS program associated with the map. The field is positioned to the right of the label and has been given the unprot attribute to allow user input, as well as the IC attribute, which indicates that the cursor will be positioned on this field when the screen appears. The third field is just an empty character of type ASCII, meaning that when the user types a name longer than 20 characters, this field will place the cursor to the next unprot field. Then we add the first name field in the same way than the last name field. And finally, we add a static command field at the bottom of the screen. Let's now recompile the map set. And now we just need to do a new copy of the map set in CICS to update the system with our last compilation. We send the map again and we see that everything looks like expected. We have now the last name and first name fields. We also see that the cursor is placed on the last name input, and we are able to write a last name and a first name. To go further, if you want to practice, you can find mainframe access on my website, coboltraining.com. I also provide a free written course where you will learn to code your first CICS program that interact with a map set.